pleasure to welcome you to the newly liberated 5th Annual Women's Awards. I'd like to get things started and introduce somebody who has been an advocate for our community, a progressive leader, the Ken to my Barbie, my business partner and partner in crime, Yetta Curlin.
We're honoring some incredible women tonight, each doing things to advance women and women's issues, and I want to ask you all to please get involved. Please just keep coming out, keep showing up, and without any further ado, I'd like to introduce the first honoree for tonight. This is a person who has been more than a role model. As many of you know, back in April of 2010, without much notice and in contravention of public health law, St. Vincent's Hospital suddenly collapsed and left our community in really a health crisis, and we've been in a state of shock since then. And one person who doesn't even live in our district or in our city, who lives in Pennsylvania, schleps here over and over again and has worked. Do you like that word, schleps? It's my community, my people. This person has shown up in an exhaustive fight. I see many folks here from the Coalition for a New Village Hospital. This is a woman who has tirelessly fought for public health and safety in our community. Who has been fearless and passionate in her fight and will continue to be so, is a role model for me and many of us, who has in large part been unsung and unacknowledged for her incredible work. I would like to take a moment to honor Eileen Dunn. Where is Eileen? This award doesn't even begin to tell her how much I am thankful and how much she's taught me. She's taught me about organizing. She's taught me about integrity. She's taught me about standing up against, the masters of the universe, to be righteous and to do good work. And I think with her help, we're going to see a great transformation, and we're eventually going to see a hospital for our community. So.
I would schlep anywhere for this woman. And I probably will schlep everywhere for this woman. It humbles me to be in the Stonewall, because we have to remember in 1969, this is where the fight for lesbian, gay, and transgender liberation started. So I was in high school at the time. I worked at St. Vincent's for 25 years, so many of the nurses there had been at St. Vincent's the night that all happened. And what was done to our population was really, really terrible.
There is one story in particular that really stood out in the past year, and that is the story of Nicola Briggs. I have to tell you, anybody who knows me knows that I'm completely unplugged from pop culture. I'm very rarely starstruck. But I am starstruck tonight by her. Her words and what she did, for those of you who don't know, she fearlessly stood up against a man who pulled his penis out on her on the subway, called him out, and escorted him to the police station. Her story was in all the local news. Her story was all over YouTube. It's received over 1 million hits. And the reason this story is so compelling is because it hit a nerve. It hit the nerve of so many women who've experienced the same kind of violence and who walked on and held their heads low, either because it was the safer thing to do or because they were socialized to just shut up and keep going. And her story is that she stood up and she spoke up, and she was the voice of an entire history of women that have been putting up with this stuff since they invented the streets, since they invented the subways. But she stood up, and she was that voice of people who are fed up and not going to take it anymore. Her voice has inspired me. Her voice has inspired the entire city, the entire nation, and dare I say, the entire world. I am so honored to present to you, ladies and gentlemen, oh fucking yes, Nicola Briggs.
is to reach out to as many women as possible to share with them alternative ways of dealing with a difficult situation like the one I experienced. Each day, all over the world, women and girls are sexually harassed and abused. And the more attention that we can bring to this problem, perhaps the closer we can come to eradicating it. I'd also like to raise awareness in government circles, because this is all too common a problem, and we can't let ourselves go to sleep in this regard. You know, I think as women living in our society today, many of us were brought up not to raise our voices in public, right? We were taught that it was neither a polite nor ladylike thing to do. But we've got to remember that when it comes to protecting our personal safety and safeguarding our dignity, each one of us has every right to speak up and to do so loudly. Don't let good manners ruin your day. So I just want to say thank you so much for this award, and I'm very deeply touched. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to call up to the stage the president of the Women's Democratic Club of New York City, Patricia Rudin. And as she's making her way up here, I just want to say, you know, street harassment, catcalling, sexual harassment like this affects many of us, not just women, folks who have subjugated gender, men who have to watch, and women who have to watch the people that they love being degraded and humiliated. It is one of the reasons I think that what Emily May is doing is so incredible. As I look through this room, like I said, it is really an intergenerational feminist movement, and I'm so excited to be a part of it, and we have to keep showing up for it, so thank you for all your work. And without further ado, please welcome our president, Pat Rudin.
Hello, Stonewall! How are you tonight? Barbara, come and get it. Thank you very much. I'm really honored to be here and also instructed. It's wonderful to hear about the activist work of other people in this community and other women especially. We don't always see the actions and the campaigns of other people, and it's a real privilege for me to see them. I'm very grateful to the Women's Democratic Club for thinking of me, to Pat Rudin, she was too modest to say that Pat is one of our primary activists. She's not only a professor, but as you can see, she's a strong voice, and she uses that in defense of our faculty, staff, and students, both individually and collectively. And I also want to thank Yetta for all of her work and all of the others. It's a real honor to be in your company. As Pat said, I just got back from Wisconsin, and the little sticker I'm wearing says, "We are all Wisconsin." That means $10 billion of cuts to people in healthcare, the kind of cuts that you were talking about, to students, to the poor, to elderly. That is not a fair way to close the budget gap. And we are suffering very strongly at the City University of New York, which has been for 160 years one of the primary routes out of poverty for people in New York City. It's many things, but it is a route out of poverty. 46% of our students come from households that earn annually less than $20,000. We've got to be active, and I thank you for giving me this chance tonight. Thank you very much.
This award represents a recognition of your great start, Jared, and encouragement for what will follow. Congratulations.
To be here. When Pat told me I was receiving this award, I was like, is there a mistake? There should be other people who should be receiving this award. So I'm going to accept this award not for me, but for my grandmother, who told my mother and aunts to go on a hunger strike because my grandfather thought, why do girls need to get an education anyway? But the best part, she would feed them when he would leave for work. Thank you so much, the Women's Democratic Club. Thank you to Yetta. Thank you to everybody.
Hi, I'm Natasha Dillon, and Kathy, I'm honored that Kathy is introducing me because I truly turn to her all the time for anything that I need, and she's always there to help and always there to pass along what it is that she knows and what she has to offer and provide for all of us that have put ourselves on the line for this issue and other issues that are about unjust laws and inequality. So I just want to say thank you for honoring. I didn't get involved with activism. I don't even think I ever thought I would be an activist because I wanted to do anything or be anyone. I did it because I was angry and brokenhearted that my rights and families like Kathy and her wife and her daughter were denied in the end of 2009. So the stars had aligned, and I met a bunch of other people that felt the exact same way that I did and wanted to do the exact same thing to make this happen for all of us here in New York and in the U.S. and nationally. And we chose to do direct action, and that is what we have started to do yesterday, actually. Thank you, and thank you, Yetta, for the honor.
Kick it off.